Hello, everyone. This is Sincere, a teacher Sincere's channel, and welcome once again. Okay, well, it's been a month, and I'm back, but I am not back to present a book, but I am back to talk about literacy, worldwide literacy. Okay, rates. I had been planning on doing this video for quite a while, and then I decided to go ahead and do it this morning after having a conversation with one of my Brazilian students. He was asking me about was I following the Olympics, and I told him no. I wasn't looking at like the different competitions, straight through or anything, but I do sort of have an idea of some of the highlights because I'll see things on my YouTube timeline or on my Facebook dealing with the Olympics and its different controversies this time. So, but I told him, we don't watch television here. We I had the satellite turned off almost 3 years ago, so we're not TV watchers here. So, but I am sort of keeping up with what's what and who's who, somewhat, a little bit, but not everything. But however, I had not really paid much attention about the gymnastics because the gymnastics has not been like maybe in some ways not a highlight to the extent of like the controversy with the Algerian boxer and then also the all the admiration and stuff for the Turkish guy that did the target shooting without the all the facial equipment and everything. Okay, but what he actually told me, and I wasn't aware of it, but he said that Brazil and the United States were competing in the gymnastics, and Brazil got the gold medal. They beat the United States, and it was the first time they ever won anything in the Olympics. Apparently, from what he was saying, sometimes I have trouble understanding him because sometimes his English structure and pronunciation is not that great. We're trying to work on it, but he seems to be able to understand. He seems to be able to understand it, but he has the problem speaking it. Okay, he has some problems speaking, but he seems when I talk to him, he understands. But how he responds, sometimes his English is a little garbled. Okay, but he's a great guy, and I enjoy teaching him, working with him. But anyway, he was talking about that Rebecca Andrade. I'm probably not saying her name right. She was the young Brazilian woman that got the gold medal in gymnastics, and congratulations for Brazil. And he was saying, and then he was telling me about, I thought he was saying incentives, but I wasn't sure. And then when he said again, he asked me, did I understand? I said, not quite what you're saying. But what he was trying to tell me was, he repeated again a little bit more slowly, and he told me that in Brazil they don't give incentives for the young people to really want to participate in sports the way they do here in the United States. Is how you have you have sports in school and high school, universities. I tell them, yeah. I said, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword though. And I told him, I'll tell you why. Because I said, I really feel that one of the reasons why our literacy rate here in the United States is not as high as countries you would think would not have such a high literacy rate. Our literacy rate is quite low. Okay, it is very low to number of countries, particularly countries in Eastern Europe, some parts of Asia, all of that. Okay, and I want to show this page from World Atlas. I used it in a previous video, I believe, back last year when I talked about hours read per week by country. Okay, so let's look at the literacy rate, and I'm going to give you a little bit of commentary about this, but it doesn't look good for the United States. And I told them because the thing is that there's so much emphasis here on sports and entertainment, but not enough on academics. And of course, there's sort of a dismissive attitude. It's long an anti-intellectual attitude in general in the United States. Uh, Education is seen as something very utilitarian, but not really something like education for education's sake. And when I was going to high school, the football players got way more attention. No, nobody really cared except for the teachers, for the students that were doing academically. All the focus was on whoever the top football baller, and we're talking about American football here, not soccer, okay, not what we call soccer. Rest of the world calls football, but American football. But everybody, my high school team was called the Gladiators, and everybody was this. They were certain people on the team that were winning, and the focus was more on them than about the students that were focusing on academics and all that. So the culture is very much focused on entertainment and sports. Okay, even on my Facebook page, there are people that went to school with me, my peers. They're I'm 62 and they are 60s, late 50s, and some of them all they care about is sports. Okay, and this includes many of the women. In fact, some of the women seem to be more sports fanatics now than the men. So, but nobody's really into reading. Nobody praises books. Nobody cares about really excelling. Okay, and this is really putting the United States as a disadvantage on so many levels. Okay, um, it is very difficult when a ruling class puts in a certain mindset. Our ideas as a society, they are not organic. They're not coming from us. That's regular people. The ideas that people have, what they love, what they like, all that, it is coming from the people at the top. And then us regular people will follow the lead. And only a few of us will say, hey, I'm going to go to, I'm going to be an individual and I'm going to do my own thing, okay, what's best for me. But the average person doesn't function on that level. And if the society is anti-intellectual, they're going to be anti-intellectual. If the society is put an emphasis on reading and academics and education and educating your children, reading to your children, people are going to do that. And they don't do that here in the United States, okay? In the past, particularly with African Americans, there were people in the past that people did years ago, many years ago, wanted to be educated, wanted an education. But now it's just seen like if you are too educated, you're a nerd, or or something. You're just not, or you're just looked down on. Okay, you're the outcast in society. Okay, pretty in so many words. They may not say it directly, but the dismissive attitude that they have will let you know where your place is. Okay, but let's look here. Let's go back though, right quick. So, list of countries by literacy rate. Let's see. It says I'll read a bit of this here in the bold faced type here. Okay. Um, and if you look under the caption here under the picture, it says government spending on education is one of the main factors involved in the nearly 100% literacy rates of countries like Finland. Okay, now what does my country spend money on more than anything? Military. Okay, and people here, a lot of people worship the military. Okay, even though it'll be rah rah for the military, but then we have homeless veterans. Okay, so it's just nothing serious here. Okay, we need to get serious as a society, but I don't think it's gonna happen, and not it is not after. It's hard to get to steer a ship back in the right direction once it's off course. Okay. All right, so a literacy rate that hovers around 100% is seen in quite a few other countries of the world, including Azerbaijan and Cuba. Okay, Cuba is, from looking at the data that I'm going to show you, Cuba is one of the few in the Western Hemisphere that has a very high literacy rate. The United States is not 100%. Okay, we're going to see what the literacy rate is for the United States. Okay, they mentioned here Andorra, which is in Western Europe, is one such country with virtually 100% of its populace being literate. A part of southwestern Europe, its government directs by law that every child between the ages of 6 and 16 is required to submit to compulsory attendance within its school system. Now, we have compulsory attendance, but students, there are a lot of factors why students don't learn and why many students in American schools cannot even read. Okay, that are reading below grade level. Okay, say they're in the 12th grade and they're reading on a 5th grade level. Okay, A lot of factors, though. Citizens from many of the countries constituting the former Soviet Union and Eastern Bloc countries can lay claim to having some of the highest access to tertiary level educational opportunities in the world. So, the countries in Eastern Europe, former Soviet countries, and you'll see on here high literacy rates, higher than the United States. Okay, so let's go on down and let's look at the data. Okay, now, Andorra here is at the top, hovering around 100%. You'll see Finland. The Holy See is the Vatican. Okay. Vatican, is a country within a country. Okay. Within a city. Okay. Liechtenstein, 100%. That's in Western Europe. Luxembourg. Then you start seeing you have Democratic People's Republic of Korea. That's North Korea. Okay. Am I right? I think I am. Okay. Not South Korea. Latvia, they demonize North Korea. Okay, my country does, but maybe they're scared because the literacy rate is high. Latvia, this is a Baltic state. It and Estonia on the Baltic Sea in Northern Europe. Okay, over by Russia, Lithuania, Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, 100%. Azerbaijan is in Asia. Okay, it was part of the Soviet bloc. Okay, Azerbaijan, near Turkey, right next to Turkey. Right there, close to it, if not bordering Turkey. Azerbaijan might not be directly bordering Turkey, but it's right there. And the Azeris are Turkic people. Poland, Eastern Europe. Cuba. Cuba is one of the few in the Western Hemisphere that's 100%. Tajikistan, Soviet, Central Asia, Georgia, Soviet bloc, Armenia, another one, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Slovenia, all these former Soviet states. Barbados, it's over here, close to the United States, it's high, one of the few, it and Cuba. Russian Federation, you know where that is. Turkmenistan, former Soviet, Belarus, Slovakia, Palau, I think it's in South Pacific. Kazakhstan, okay? Let's go on down a little bit lower where it starts going down, okay? Moldova, former in the Eastern Europe, Kazakhstan, Croatia, former Yugoslavian, formerly part of Yugoslavia, now defunct Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia no longer exists, of course, as you probably know. Italy, let's see if I can get the scroll. Okay, it's not scrolling. Well, don't want to scroll. Okay, here it is. Okay, it's going, I think. Hungary. So let's look. Let's just keep looking. I'm just going to scroll and stop talking. I'm not going to go one by one. Let's go on down. 98. Israel. Former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. I teach one student there. Greece is 97. Let's scroll. What you see? Saudi Arabia, 94. But there's one I want you to look at. Did I pass it? 95. Okay, right before Saudi Arabia, 94. Do you see a certain country? If you look here, you have Kuwait, 98, Bahamas, it's Western Hemisphere, 98, Philippines, Nauru, I think it's South Pacific, 95, China, 95, Cook Islands, State of Palestine, 95. Okay, State of Palestine, Venezuela, 95. The only African country I see up really high, Equatorial Guinea, Suriname, South America, Bahrain, Arabian Peninsula, Gulf State. It's going down. So let's look at let's focus now. I want us to focus on the state of Palestine. Palestine was 94. Okay, 94. Where is it? Israel 98. Palestine 95. Let's go on down. I want to go slowly and let you look at these, okay? And I want to show you my target. There's Turkey 93, less than Palestine, okay? But Turkey is still higher than a certain country. Brazil, higher than a certain country, okay? Libya, not high, pretty high, 90. Lebanon, Mauritius, 98, okay? It's part of Africa. Botswana is 87. But let's look at a certain countries. Go down. Botswana, Burundi, 87. Oman. Now I'm surprised Oman is so low. Okay. And I did go back and look at some other websites besides this one, this data, and it lines up pretty much so. Okay. About the same. United States, 86. So you have Palestine, 94, and United States, 86. Now, how did that happen? You have war torn Palestine, been war torn for a long time. Okay. Didn't just start this last year. Okay. What is happening? Let's look at mindsets. Okay. Now, here in the United States, like I said, the emphasis is on sports and entertainment. Okay. Students, the football teams play football in high school. Those that are good at football, recruiters look at them for that. The university recruiters, then the recruiters, then you get in the university and you play American football, and then recruiters look at the professional teams start looking for athletes. Okay, if you look at the universities, the professors, not the professors, the presidents and the at some universities, the presidents and the coaches are making six figures, whereas many professors are adjunct and only working part time and don't even have their own office. And we even have homeless professors. A few years ago, I was looking at, I think it was on Twitter, I believe, and somebody was talking about a professor that was actually, she was homeless and she was actually having conferences with her students out of her car. Okay. There are professors on food stamps, on EBT, the food stamps where you get the free food by the government gives you allots you out so much money, so much, and you can buy just food stuffs with it. Okay. Staples, but not, other household products and stuff. There are professors on food stamps. Okay. On EBT as we call it. And Yeah, so 86%. Why is Palestine so low? Palestine under the gun. Why is it so high? Why is it higher than the United States? Because, okay, I've never lived in Palestine. I have taught Palestinian students, but did not live, though, in Gaza or in the occupied territories. No, they lived in Jordan. They were Jordanian citizens. But why is it? Because the mindset in Palestinian society is valuing education. To value education. Many students, their parents want it, they want to be the top of their class. I've mentioned before here on my channel about my young friend Walla from Gaza. She's no longer in Gaza, they are in Lebanon now. And Walla had just started university over a year ago. Okay. Last summer, this time, I think it was in August, this month, last year, this time, before this latest war broke out, the big one, she sent me her grades. Okay. She had the Arabic there, and I could recognize the number somewhat. And she was telling me I'm at the top of my class. Okay. And I congratulated her. And I have seen news reports, different things about Palestinian culture, and it was very, very important for the young people to get their education. Even now, the children will be seeing, you'll see videos, and the children will be saying that they want to go back to school, but their schools, many schools have been destroyed. All of the universities in Gaza have been destroyed. Early on, my young friend's university was one of the first that was destroyed, hollowed out, and then blown up. And the others, same case. Many of the schools that are still left standing are shelter where people are sheltering in the hope that they don't get killed and get bombed. But we just saw yesterday, if you follow what's going on in Gaza, I think there were two schools attacked and people killed. So, but despite all this, despite 75 years of what's been going on, they put a value on education. It's very important. And I hear that this is the case with many Arab countries, that the parents emphasize that the kids want the kids to do good. Also, I think also too, and well, when I was growing up, it was the same with me. If I did not get good grades, I was in trouble. Okay, my father didn't play that. Okay, my parents didn't play that. I had to get good grades. Um, but and I'm glad that they were strict. You have to have a standard, and the problem in the United States is that the standards have been made so low, and the government has not helped. Okay, they tampered with the curriculum back over 10 years ago, over a decade ago. It really accelerated under Obama. It started with Bush. And it really, and probably even before that, okay. And even when I was in school, the emphasis was more on education, but a lot of stuff was left out, and it was not adequate what we were getting. But we did get the basics, and if you take education serious, you realize that education is a lifelong pursuit. Okay. Right now, I have a book out that was one of my dad's old books. I'm working on planning to work on a project, and the book, one of the books that I have here, you can't see it, of course, is Planning Your Financial Future. And there are some other books he had in there about retirement and law and all that. And I want to read these books, okay, for certain things I'm planning to work on. But but yeah, here in the United States has been quite of an anti-intellectual spirit for a long time. And when they started calling people nerds that were educated, and make, nerds being the weird, homely person with glasses and kind of weird, that they have the nerd type guy with his pants under his arms and all this kind of stuff, these stereotypes of educated people. And this started happening when I was a young person, when I was younger. Now, I'm not young now, but when I was a younger person than I am now, this is just that whole full blown. We don't like educated people here. As long as the educated is utilitarian, so you can work for us, but really, having an interest in education for education's sake, and not just seeing education as solely a route to make money. They don't want that there. They don't want this here. Okay. And another thing about education is this: if you think back into the history of African Americans in this country, okay, during slavery, it was illegal for slaves to learn how to read and write. Why? Because slaves would start questioning a lot of things, get beside themselves the way the slave master felt, and you couldn't do anything with them. If you have a population that's drunk on entertainment, drunk on the superficial, drunk on entertainment, on stuff that's really not anything of value, you can handle that population. They're not going to look at, oh, what is these people doing? Why is this happening? Why is, they're not. So it's safe for them because the ruling class are the ones that tell us what to like, what not to like, what matters, what doesn't matter. And the reason why, and then you have to have that family reinforcement. And in the United States, the family is broken. We have high divorce. I like this website, but I don't like the ads, and I don't know how to get the ads off. Okay. So, but anyway, I just wanted to talk about this, and this was on my mind. I had planned to make a video on this, and sorry if the video is rambling. I tend to be a rambler, but for me, I want my channel to be as natural as possible. If I do something that's like a little educational video documentary, it'll be more polished, but I'm not worried about it being polished here. Okay. But I want to show this. Okay. And like I told him, and he agreed. I told him, I said, I explained to him that, yeah, we do. Yeah, maybe in Brazil, this is my student, maybe in Brazil, they don't encourage you or make it an incentive to do sports, to play sports as a young person. Okay. But we do here in the United States. But as a result of that, one of the reasons why our literacy rate is so low compared to a lot of these other countries in Eastern Europe, parts of Western Europe, even Asia, is because education is not emphasized here in a way that this is education for education's sake. And if you get a little bit too educated, you become a nerd and this, that, and the other, all that. And this is really actually putting us back behind a lot of countries, because you can see the United States was way down the list. And this wasn't like number 20. It's way down the list. So, how to change mindsets? It's hard to change mindsets in a society. Okay. And like I said, it makes it easy for the people that are at the top. If their population is worried about good times, sure, it's fine. Entertainment is great. Sports is great. Entertainment, if it's the right kind of entertainment, is good. Everybody needs to take a break. Okay. All right. Entertaining for me might be reading a good book or writing a journal or drawing or painting, something like that. Okay. Doing knitting. Everybody is, people are different, but you can't have, but I can't read all the time. Okay. I have to work. Okay. I can't write in my journal all the time. I can't do knitting all the time, or I haven't painted in a long time. I'd like to get back to paint, but I can't, unless I plan to be an artist full time, and it's hard to make money now. Make money. It's always been difficult to make a living being an artist. I can't do it all the time. I have to do something else. Art is serious, but like I said, sports and things like that. And what I think people will have to do, and I know people won't like this, but um, maybe we have to let go of sports in the schools and the universities and focus on academics, and maybe just have local sports teams and let the people, let recruiters draw their pool from that, but not in the school setting. Okay. And I know some will not want to hear that, but I think that's a logical way of saying it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to end here. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if you did, but I hope you did learn something new. So this is Sincere Ray. Until next time.